I'm so glad that so many different women share their stories with us. There are different varieties of red flags and manipulation tactics and control tactics that men use. So, all of these women sharing their stories helps us say, this is not right, some kind of way. I don't know and understand, but let's talk about it. This woman posted her story in my BurbNBougie subreddit. She says, why do some men feel the need to annoy the women in their lives as a way to decompress from stress? Now, this word annoy sticks out to me like they're trying to be humorous or the jokes, the pranksters, whatever. That's what it says to me in the title. But let's just get to her post. She says, I just can't fathom why they do this. My dad knows the things that annoy me and has used them against me several times. He also targets my mom and had targeted his own mom with similar stuff. I don't like being tickled. What did he do when he learned about that? Either threatened to tickle me or ask for a hug, then tickled me. So I just don't hug him anymore. I hate taking pictures. So what has he done ever since he learned that? Took pictures of me when I wasn't looking and showed them to me because he wanted a reaction, then got mad if I yelled and got angry. And that's not even touching the surface of what he does. He sees me cooking something obvious like beans or pasta, frying chicken, or cooking something I had told him I would do previously that day, and asks me, "What are you doing?" It annoys me to no end when I'm asked such stupid questions that he knows the answers to. When I was younger, he would slap my butt when I wasn't looking just because I hated it, and he would get a laugh out of my reaction. He only stopped when I had a fight with him one day, and he said he would never joke with me again. He unfortunately didn't stop for long. A few years ago, he actually pinched my butt when we were on the beach and denied it, even though he had one of those annoying smirks on his face. It was him because we were the only ones at that section of the beach, and I had my back turned at the time. If I came to talk to him about something that bothered me, I would get one of two possible random reactions. He either took me seriously, which was rare, or he would find a way to mock me for it or make a joke about it to make me feel better. Even now, when I'm in college, he gets into my room if I have an online class or a reunion with my research group and starts cracking jokes and mocking what someone else is saying. I just have to ignore him until he gets bored and goes away. He put the dog in my room several times after he learned I didn't let the dog into my room. He also picks it up and tries to get inside to talk to me about something and says, it's just in my arms, it's not going to do anything. It's just a way to get a cheap laugh and push boundaries. I'm sick and tired of this. Sometimes our first bullies are in our own home. He is normalizing you being the butt of the joke. And the joke is never funny. He is just doing this to mock you, make fun of you, push boundaries. He is like, really, like, why do they do this? I have no idea. But this man is using this as a tactic to get under your skin, as if you are like a puppy or some kind of pet that he needs to play with to get some amusement. I don't know the psychology around somebody like this, but there were some really good comments in this comment section. So I'm going to go over the comments. And you guys that are watching this right now, go ahead and tell me what you saw. I see the boundary stepping, but she also knows right here to get a cheap laugh and push boundaries. She already knows what he's doing. Maybe she just wants to vent about it. And I really hope that this young lady is able to get away from this man because he is her first bully, because this is her dad. How do you even get away from your dad when you are in college and you're kind of stuck at this particular point? Icy Tiger says power and the joy of abusing it. When people deliberately cross boundaries and demonstrate glee over it, they are demonstrating that they get off on abusing people. And they're doing it with a smile so that you can't say, look, he's angry. You like they're doing it as a mask, but it's still no less abusive. Comprehensive Dog says because he's an abuser, it's about power and control. Account Necessary says, my ex did this. I would tell him something I don't like, and he'll take it as something he should make happen. I remember at one point when we were together, I was telling myself not to tell him certain things because I'd end up regretting it based on his reaction. I didn't realize it then, but that was a huge red flag. I was in the car with him. He was driving. A song that I hated came on the radio, and I told him right there, ugh, I can't stand this song. Immediately after, he turns the volume up and starts singing along. A hole. 4B Forever says, I really had no idea how many people like this were adult age running around the world until 2020. People would share memes on Facebook about proudly going down the grocery store aisles in the wrong direction. Yeah, okay, cool kid. So impressive and edgy. Yeah. Ganymede says, it's the no means yes. They truly are effed in the head. West Ruin says, I think he was my ex. Carl Comedian. Ganymede says, side note, I really commend you for not normalizing his abuse because you seem young and yet you clocked in on his malicious ways. And then the OP says, full credits to my amazing therapist because I was neck deep in denial until a month ago. Wow. I'm glad that she's sharing her story so that other women can see that this is not normal, even when they are playing pranks and just tickling and, laughing about it. This is still abusive and a control tactic. Miss Andre says he's doing it because getting a rise out of you gives him a thrill or enjoyment. He is likely miserable within himself, so he wants to externalize it to others around and get attention. Even if it's negative attention, it makes him feel important and powerful somehow. He's doing this because he can. He does not think he will have negative consequences. Since you likely have to live with him for a bit, I recommend trying out the gray rock technique. You already noticed that sometimes he will leave you alone after he is bored enough. I will share a link below. Also, I think it is abusive behavior that gets downplayed because he is passive aggressively passing it off as a joke. And then she does share an article, and the OP says, thank you, I'll look into that. Here is the article from Medical News Today. What is gray rocking? Gray rocking, or the gray rock method, is a tactic people may use to deal with abusive or manipulative behavior. It involves becoming as uninteresting and unengaged as possible so that the other person loses interest. Some people anecdotally report that it reduces conflict and abuse. The idea behind the technique is that abusive people, especially those with narcissistic tendencies, enjoy getting a reaction from their victims. Refusing to give them this reaction makes interactions less rewarding. There is no research to confirm that it works. This article examines the gray rock method in more detail, including what it is, how people use it, and the risks. It also provides other strategies dealing with abuse along with support resources. I'm not going to do this whole article, but I gave the title and where it's from and all that. But I am going to do this part. To gray rock, a person involves making all interactions with them as uninteresting and unrewarding as possible. In general, this means giving short, straightforward answers to questions and hiding emotional reactions to the things a person says or does. Some people use the gray rock method with those they suspect of having narcissistic personality disorder. People with NPD may use others as a source of attention, manipulating them to get a specific reaction that bolsters their ego. The idea behind gray rocking is that, in theory, it will cut off a person's narcissistic supply and cause them to lose interest in their target. So that's what gray rocking is. If that is something that you think might help, you can at least try it. It just involves just answering really short and to the point. Join the conversation. Let me know what you think about this one. Don't forget to like, comment, and share. So for you watching and you do want to still get married and you're engaged, how long is too long to stay engaged? What is your particular line? Go ahead and comment below. This Reddit was posted in the relationship advice subreddit. She says, my fiance, who's 46, and I, a 37-year-old woman, so 46 and 37, have been together for 10 years. 10 years. We live together and have been engaged for 6 years. He is backing out on marrying me for the third time. Why? Why? Because he doesn't want to marry you. That's why. All right, she said, we set a date in 2020, but due to COVID, we had to cancel. We both agreed to elope to the beach the next year, and he backed out. He started a new project and couldn't take time off of work. My mom passed away the following year. That has been the hardest thing I have ever had to deal with, so naturally, I wasn't in the greatest state for a while. Fast forward to a few months ago, we agreed to a wedding on our property with no more than 25 guests. I bought my wedding dress, his ring, decor, etc., and put a down payment on the officiant. He told me to pick a date, and I did, and now he's backing out again. Made a comment last night that he's scared I'll do what his ex wife did and take half his ish. He said he wished he would have met me before her so he wasn't so messed up because he said I'm the love of his life, but that he's scared. He has never said anything like this before. It's always been, you're my life partner and I want to marry you, or we're going to be married soon. It's been 10 years. He's made me question a lot of things because he's backed out on marrying me multiple times. I wanted to add that marriage has been discussed since the beginning of our relationship. We both agreed that we wanted marriage and believe it to be way more than just a piece of paper. I'm just at a loss on what to say, what to do or say, and I'm hurting to say the least. The thing is, men will do this, especially if you tell them that you are the marrying type, that you are dating to get married. They will be like, I bet I have to say this. I have to like go along with this because I want her to be in my life. And if I'm forthcoming with how I really feel, then she will leave. And it's your right to leave, but they lie. They will lie because simply keeping you around is worth it. And so many times we use that sunk cost fallacy that I have been with them for this long. I'm just going to stick it out just a little bit longer and see if they change. But his actions have shown time and time again that he is not going to change. He's had the opportunity to just marry you. And you, this woman in particular, she has made it so easy. The wedding is on their property. Like he doesn't even have to go anywhere. All he has to do is show up dressed. And I bet you she will marry this man dressed in whatever he's wearing for that day because she just wants to be married. And he's like not wanting to do it. So Pretty Miss, who tagged me, says he isn't taking you seriously. Cut your losses because he's wasting your time. This woman is hurt, and her responses show that she's really hurt. Shy One says, LOL, he isn't going to marry you. Now that you are now what are you going to do about it? Either stay with him knowing he will never marry you or move on. And she says, thanks for laughing and the reply. She is really hurt about this, and I can understand because everybody is throwing it back in her face that this man is stringing her along. She already knows that. But yeah, this man is not going to marry her, and she knows it. But posting it on Reddit just lets everybody tell her the same thing that she already knows within her heart. Alana Tun says, I don't think the poster was actually laughing at you, but I can sense the hurt you're feeling. Know your worth after 10 years of being together, and now suddenly he's pulling the ex wife card because he was hurt. But how come he didn't tell you this 10 years ago, or even 6 or 5? Please realize that every time he canceled, he'd hoped you just let it go and settle. Never sacrifice your happiness or waste your time on someone that you don't have a future with. But it's up to you to buy in, it's up to you to buy into his BS reason after 10 years of knowing you. Definitely not a Dave says. He does know that prenups exist, right? That's the best way to make sure that you don't do what his ex did. That being said, after 10 years and 3 backouts over the last few years, with one being remotely justified, I think it's time to peace out. The last thing you want to do is realize you have to start over when you're 40 after knowing you felt that way for years. And then the OP says, yeah, it's already a realization. It's just hard for me to grasp and believe. Thanks. Amazon Ray says, dude, the sunk cost fallacy exists, and that's what you're experiencing. All that time for what? Because he doesn't want to be the bad person and break up with you. He's making you do the dirty work. It's ridiculous. Interesting Sky says, and as soon as they break up, he gets married to someone else. Stan says, yep, here is a cold hard truth. People treat us the way we allow them to. OP has allowed this to continue a decade. It's time to let it go. They want different things in life. If he wanted to marry her, he would have. So the OP says, he initiated the proposal. He proposed to me back in 2018 after we had been together for almost 4 years. He bought me a beautiful engagement ring and wedding band that came as a set. He proposed to me over a candlelit dinner, and we spent the weekend riding four wheelers and swimming in the river. It was one of the best weekends. And yes, a decade is long enough that you can see she's hurt. She says, I know I'm pathetic. Clearly, I'm very stupid given all of the condescending and sarcastic responses. People seem to forget I'm a real person with real feelings. Sometimes it's hard to follow through with a made up mind, even if you know it's for the best. I don't want to throw away what we have, but it will eat me alive if this continues. Not just because he hasn't married me, but because he's lied about wanting to do so and has strung me along all these years for whatever reasons he can't just be transparent about. I already updated in my post last night before many other comments rolled in that I was done. Thank you for your response. So here's her edit. I didn't realize how many comments I'd be getting, and it got really overwhelming. I'm just adding that we each have a child from previous marriages, 13 and 16. We are not trying to get pregnant, and more children have never been a part of our plan. I can no longer have children anyway. I have already had it in my mind that I've wanted to leave for quite some time now. I love him, and overall our relationship has been a good one. I've tried to talk to him till I'm blue in the face, and he always says it'll happen or I don't want to lose you. I know these comments are lies and words to keep me around longer. Clearly they have worked, but I can't and won't be doing this with him anymore. We've talked about a prenup, which I'm completely okay with, but he never makes anything happen. I'm tired and I'm done. Thanks for all the responses. So there we go. There we have it. She's finally at a time where she's ready to walk away. All right, you guys join the conversation. Let me know what you think about this. Don't forget to like, comment, and share. This 41-year-old husband has a wife appliance that is malfunctioning. So this was posted in the relationship advice subreddit. This woman, she is 28, he's 41. This is a wife appliance, and she said that she is not in the mood for X. She says, my husband said it doesn't matter if I'm in the mood for X or not. So she has got to understand that she was put here. She was made strictly for service to him and to get him off and to serve him and cook for him and cook and clean for him. She is a wife appliance. Why would it matter if you're in the mood or not? You're here to simply service him. Let's get into the post. She says, we've been together for 4 years and we have a baby, a 1-year-old son. I'm a stay at home mom. Last night, my husband tried to initiate X, but I told him I wasn't in the mood for it. I'm recovering from a bad case of the flu, so I've been feeling tired and run down lately. Then he said, and this is an actual quote, doesn't matter. Only one of us needs to be in the mood for X to happen, and it's not you. I couldn't believe what I was hearing, so I pushed him off of me and said, excuse me, what? And he tried to say it was just a joke. I told him it was gross and not funny at all. He says it's been 3 weeks since we last had X. I told him that I don't owe him X, which made him mad, I guess, because he started to go on about how I should be more grateful because he lets me stay home, which is a luxury and a privilege. And if I don't appreciate that, then maybe I should think about going back to work soon. I was shocked and honestly livid, and I didn't want to escalate things, so I went to have a super long shower. Money isn't an issue for us, so the only reason I can think of is that he said it to guilt me into having X. We discussed the stay at home thing before our son was born, and it was a decision we made together. He apologized this morning, but I can't help but wonder if that's how he actually feels. Now, being a stay at home mother is a vulnerable position, and having a new child is an extra vulnerable position because you are losing that financial stability and control to where you can just up and leave. And so that is something that women really need to consider. And I am saying that as a former stay-at-home mother that really put my finances on the back burner and my trust into somebody that, they do have that control. Now, it worked out for me and things are fine. Things were in a healthy position. But sometimes you get to the point where you're with somebody who uses that as a control tactic. You should be doing this. You should be doing X, Y, and Z because I did this for you. And that is not a healthy dynamic. That is quid pro quo. That is, you are in service of me. You should be doing all of these things for me. You are now being treated as an employee. You are being treated as a wife appliance. He puts in the money and the X comes out, and you better be doing it with a smile. And Tacos and Zonky says another age gap post. Venom Bar says there are so many. So, these people are really looking for these traditional wives, these submissive women, and they do it with women that are much younger than them. And it just keeps happening. To be continued says, and yet so many people want to defend them. Jimmy John Jackson says, I like that name, Jimmy John Jackson. It's always a resounding, you're jealous, you're just jealous, they want younger women. Yes, yes, I read these stories and well, why can't this be me? I hate having my own autonomy and not having someone attempt to control my every move. It's absolutely horrible. Sarcasm. Olivia Red says, I used to be one of those people. I am now going through a divorce after my decade older husband cheated for over half our marriage. But that's not even the worst of it. The worst is the way he would become extremely angry if I turned him down for X, like this post. That part is going to take the most therapy to get over. It took me a while to realize how much of it was affecting me until I started giving in to not anger him and having panic attacks every time after. OP, this is not okay. I want to hug you. I know it's scary being a mom, but I really hope it doesn't get worse like it did for me. Nutmeg Tail says, that's the thing. We've all been there as young women. When we try to warn others, it's not out of jealousy or not understanding. We're trying to save you from the pain we experienced. Glad you're doing better. Hill Mickelson says, another typical case of an older guy wanting a younger girl to be his perfect and submissive bangmaid. These stories usually don't end well because the men often end up leaving or cheating on their wives when they find a shiny new toy to replace them. This leaves the wives struggling financially as they were out of the workforce for years. After the divorce, they can barely provide for themselves, and the kids they kept having. I hope the OP gets a job and starts standing up for herself to avoid a very dark future and to stop being used as an ex toy. So, we've talked about this and we will continue to talk about this. I don't care if I'm sounding redundant, but this is real life. And in real life, women have got to be able to survive regardless of if they are married or not. And women need to have a plan B, C, D, E, F, G, L, M, N, O, P. And you've got to have those plans because some of the men that you marry are not the same people that you end up with 10 years from now, 15 years from now. And there is no way to know if that person will ever change. So all of these people talking about, well, you should have vetted better. You should have chose better. You don't know how somebody is going to be 5 years from now, 10 years. You don't know. So, you need to be able to survive regardless. And this woman is seeing what could happen. He's apologized and everything, but has he really changed? She won't know, but she has it in her mind. She sees how he is, so she needs to plan accordingly. Plan accordingly. Jump in the comments. Let me know what you think. Don't forget to like, comment, and share.